Shalom, this is your brother Shamar from the Phoenix camp. With that being said, I want to give all honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh, Bahasham Yahweh Shai, Bahasham Kakadash. Double honors to the elders of Great Millstone, and peace and salutations to the brothers that are doing this work in true sincerity. Jump right into the lesson. This is Genesis 3 and 7, and we're going to continue on with these breakdowns as taught by the elders and apostles of the Great Millstone. Because there's a lot of new brothers that are coming into the faith. The Lord's waking up a lot of men in these last days. According to Ezekiel, the 37th chapter, He's breathing the breath of life into them. That Most High willing will be another lesson right there. But this is Genesis 3 and 7, so it's good to go over these breakdowns every once in a while. And it says, and the eyes of them were both open. Now this is after Adam and Eve took upon themselves the philosophies and the sinful ways of the people around them, and they knew that they were naked. So does it mean that they were walking around without, just butt naked, man, and nude? No, it means that they knew that they had sinned. They knew that there was a shame upon them. That's what it means. It means that they knew they committed a wrong. So let's get a precept real quick. Let's get Revelation 16 and 15. This is This is Revelation 16 and 15. And it says, Behold, I come as a thief. This is your boy Yahushua. Blessed he that watches and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and they see his shame. So basically that's what the point I'm trying to get. That state of nakedness that Genesis 3 and 7 is talking about is a state of shame. So they weren't in the nude like Christianity, plantation Christianity teaches. They weren't in the nude. You gotta understand that this is all parabolic talk, man. The Lord said that He speaks in parables, man. So this means that we're going that back again. It says, Behold, I come to a thief, blessed he that watches and keeps his garments. And your garments are what, man? Salah. Your garments are this knowledge, your works. Because you go to Matthew 22:11, it speaks about not having a wedding garment. Let's go ahead and get that real quick. This is Matthew 22 and 11. And it says, this is a parable that Yahweh spoke. So let's go to Salah. Let's go to verse 4. It says, Matthew 24. Again, he sent forth his other servants, saying, Tell them which are bidden, Behold, I prepare my dinner, my oxen, my fatlings are killed, and all things are ready to come into the marriage. And what's the marriage? The marriage is Yahweh Shai receiving his bride being the elect of Israel. It says, But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his one to his farm, another to his merchandise. So that's what people do when we go off the highways and hedges. We are bidding men into the marriage. We are bidding men to come into this knowledge. But they made light of it and went their ways, one to his farm, another to his merchandise. And that's what the majority of people do. They make light of it. That's why there's a lot of people that they make light of it, man. They see the prophets out there. they see the truth being taught, and they make light of it. They don't count it of any worth, because things of the world are more valuable to him. And the remnant took his servant and he treated them spitefully and slew them. But when the king heard thereof, he was wroth. He sent for his armies, destroyed those murderers, and burned up the city. So there's a judgment coming, man. Then says to servants, the way is ready, but that which were bidden were not worthy. Go ye therefore into the highways, and as many as shall find, bid to the marriage. And that's exactly what we're doing, man. We are bidding the elect into the marriage. What do we get? We are bidding those that are worthy, to the marriage, which is the elect. So those servants went out into the highways and gathered together all as many as they found, both bad and good, and the wedding was furnished with guests. And when the king came in to see the guests, he saw there a man which had not a wedding garment. Salak. And it said in that wedding garment is symbolic of this knowledge of our works too. And he says, "No friend, how comest thou hither not having a wedding garment?" And he was speechless. Then said the king to the servant, "Bind him hand and foot, and take him away, cast him out of outer darkness, and weep and gnashing of teeth." Going back to Revelation in 16 and 5. 16 and 15. It says, "Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed he that watcheth and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked and see his shame," man. So the knowledge, that's what it was. Well, the point I wanted to get was that the nakedness that's described in Genesis 3 and 7, basically the shame that they had. They were in a state of shame because they knew that they had done wrong. So let's get 2 Corinthians 5 and 3. This is 2 Corinthians 5 and 3. And it says, well, I'll just start at verse 1. "For we know that if our earthly house of this tabernacle were dissolved, we would have building of Yahweh, and a house not made with hands, eternal in heaven. For in this we groan earnestly, desiring to be clothed upon, because our house was from heaven." So we're desiring that righteousness to clothe us, man. If so, that being clothed, we shall not be found naked. See, not be found in that state of shame. So that's parabolic talk, man. You gotta understand that that's parabolic talk. Let's get Sirach 4 and 21. This is Sirach 4 and 21. It says, "For there is a shame that bringeth sin." See, so that shame, that nakedness, that's sin. They knew that they committed sin, man. They knew that they did something wrong in the eyes of Yahweh Shem Yahushai, because they knew now the sinful ways of the people around them, because they partake of those philosophies and fruits. And what happened after that, let's go back to Genesis. Let's go back to Genesis. So, we were at verse 7. It says, "The eyes of them were both open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made themselves aprons." So those fig leaves are what, man? They basically, it was those fig leaves were basically, they were it was them taking on the customs of the other nations. You know, they were taking on the ways of the heathen, so to speak, that were going upon them at the time. It says, let's go to, so that's what that means. So let's go to verse 8. It says, "And they heard the voice of the Lord, the most high power, walking in the garden in the cool of the day." You look at that word cool, it means spirit, the spirit of the day. "And Adam and his wife hid themselves from the presence of the Lord, power among the trees of the garden, among the heathen, among the people." You know, they try to hide themselves among the other nations. So it says they heard the voice. Let's get the word, the sound of the Lord, of the Most High Power, walking in the garden in the cool of the day. That word cool, it goes into spirit. So what's that talking about? That's talking about the prophets of the Lord being out there, man. That's possible. The prophets of the Lord prophesying. Let's get Hebrews 1 and 1. Hebrews 1 and 1, it says, "Yahweh, who at sundry times and diverse manners spake in past unto the fathers by the prophets." So the Lord has always had prophets out there, man. That's the voice of the Lord. The voice of the Lord is the prophets walking in the spirit of the day, in the cool of the day, bringing forth judgment, speaking the law, statutes, and commandments. You know, let's get because that's what the voice of the Lord is. Let's get Genesis 26 and 25. This is Genesis 26 and 25, and it says, that it? No, 26 and 5. It says, because that Abraham obeyed my voice and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. See, so the voice of the Lord is a law, statutes, and commandments. So basically, what the prophets were telling them is that they were going against the law, statutes, and commandments. They were going against the voice of the Lord. It says, the Lord God called to Adam and said, where art thou? And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden. I was afraid because I was naked and I hid myself. So let's get Ezekiel 16 and 36. Well, before they get that, let's get Job 31. Is it Job 31? Salak. So when it said that he hid himself, basically he was trying to cover his sin. This is Job 31. If I cover my transgression as Adam by hiding my iniquity in my bosom, see that? So that was what going back to Genesis 3 and 10. And this is Adam speaking. He said, I heard the voice in the garden. So he heard the prophets. And I was afraid because I was naked, because of his shame, because he knew his sin. And he hid himself. Basically, he was trying to cover up his transgressions, man. So that's what that is. That's a simple breakdown of these few scriptures here. And the Most High willing, we're going to continue on in the book of Genesis, man. But the nakedness is symbolic of the shame and sinfulness that they knew that they committed. And the cool of the day is symbolic of the prophets that were telling them that they were going against the law, statutes, commandments of the Most High. Because you got to understand in those days that the law was it wasn't written, but it was oral. So the Most High always had prophets, telling them what's up, basically. So with that being said, man, just a real quick lesson, a few scriptures. With that, I want to give honor, glory, and praise to Yahweh Bashem Yoshai. Kahala Yahweh Bashem Yoshai. Brothers, keep on pushing. Shalom.